There's an unspoken understanding in many communities that some lives are destined for failure long before they even have a chance to succeed. It's the quiet acknowledgement that circumstances, environment, and chance can trap individuals in a relentless cycle of hardship, leaving them invisible to the world's prospects and possibilities. Within this reality, some children grow up without stability, without guidance, and without hope, their presence often dismissed as lost causes. They are the ones wandering the streets during the day and hiding in shadowy corners by night, invisible to most but painfully aware of their own vulnerability. For many, the streets become both their refuge and their prison, offering momentary solace from neglect, yet exposing them to dangers that can threaten their very survival. This is a world where despair is normalized and opportunities are scarce, especially for those who have been branded as beyond help. Amidst this bleak landscape, a profound question persists. Can someone so deeply marked by despair and societal neglect break free from the cycle that appears to define them? How does one forge a path toward redemption when the odds seem stacked against them from the very beginning? It is within this context that the story begins, not with the typical heroism or grand gestures, but with someone who was once considered a lost cause himself. A person whose life was once a mirror of the very children he now dedicates himself to saving. His past is littered with mistakes, missteps, and moments of profound hopelessness that seemed to seal his fate early on. He was branded a lost case, disposable by the system, society, and sometimes even by himself. Yet somehow, from that darkness, a flicker of change ignited, an unanticipated spark that grew into a fire powerful enough to alter not only his own destiny, but the lives of countless children he would go on to protect. In the midst of despair, something extraordinary happens. A transformation that defies expectations and challenges the stereotypes we hold about failure and redemption. This is not a story about overnight miracles or simple solutions, but about resilience, grit, and the unwavering belief that even those deemed hopeless can find a second chance. His journey is not linear. It's marked by setbacks, moments of doubt, and the undeniable pull of past demons. Yet through perseverance, a newfound purpose emerges. Instead of succumbing to a life of regret, he chooses to channel his experiences into something bigger than himself. His transformation becomes a testament to the power of redemption, not just as a concept, but as a real, tangible force capable of rewriting the narrative of the most fragile lives. As he navigates his complex past, he encounters the children society has forgotten or dismissed. These children are echoes of his own history, lost, angry, betrayed by life, yet carrying within them an innate spark of hope that refuses to be extinguished. Watching them, he recognizes reflections of his former self, fueling a fierce determination to give them a different future. His journey from a case lost to a founder of an organization dedicated to rescuing children is a story about the human capacity to change, to heal, and to lead. It underscores that even in the bleakest places, where despair seems to reign, there exists the potential for renewal, for rebuilding lives not just for others, but for oneself as well. What began as a personal struggle for redemption ultimately blossoms into a mission that transcends individual regret, becoming a beacon of hope for children who need it most, and a powerful reminder that sometimes the most unlikely individuals hold the greatest capacity to transform the world around them. The transformation from a perceived hopeless case to a true champion of change often hinges on embracing vulnerability as a source of strength rather than weakness. When someone has spent years guarded by walls of cynicism, mistrust, or shame, the act of opening up can seem counterintuitive, even risky. Yet, within that vulnerability lies a powerful catalyst for authenticity and connection. For the man who was once dismissed as irredeemable, acknowledging past wounds was not an admission of defeat, but a necessary step toward genuine empathy. Recognizing the pain he endured allowed him to understand the raw emotional scars carried by the children he now seeks to uplift. This candid acknowledgement created a bridge, a conduit through which trust could emerge. His willingness to expose his imperfections demonstrated that true leadership involves vulnerability, inspiring others to shed their own protective facades. Furthermore, this process of radical transparency establishes a new foundation for his work. Instead of delivering prepackaged solutions, he approaches his mission with humility and openness, positioning himself alongside those he aims to help rather than above them. This shift reframes authority into partnership, emphasizing shared struggle and resilience. In practical terms, it manifests through honest conversations, candid sharing of personal setbacks, and a refusal to pretend that the path to recovery is smooth or linear. Children who observe this honest approach learn that imperfection is part of the journey, and that genuine strength arises from embracing one's flaws. It sends a clear message that seeking help or admitting vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a vital step toward growth. Diving deeper into this theme, it becomes apparent that resilience is not a static trait, but a dynamic process that evolves through adversity. The individual's history of setbacks serves as a rich soil for cultivating empathy and patience, traits essential for any true reform. When working with children who have faced trauma, understanding that resilience involves continuous effort, persistence, and occasional relapse helps reshape expectations. It counters the misconception that healing is a straightforward process and underscores that setbacks are not failures, but natural components of growth. This perspective influences how programs are designed. They must be flexible enough to accommodate setbacks, fostering an environment where perseverance is celebrated over perfection. The man's own journey exemplifies this, demonstrating that overcoming internal turmoil requires repeated acts of courage and a willingness to learn from failures, an ethos he imparts to the youth under his wing. Building upon this, however, is the recognition that community plays an integral role in maintaining sustained change. Transformation does not occur in isolation. It flourishes within networks of support, shared values, and collective accountability. As he builds his organization, the focus shifts beyond individual redemption toward creating an ecosystem that nurtures continuous growth. Mentorship programs, peer support groups, and community engagement become vital components. These elements serve as reinforcing pillars, buttressing the fragile process of rebuilding lives. Now consider how this applies when you face shared struggles, whether in personal or professional spheres, because collective effort amplifies individual transformations. Just as trees need a forest to thrive, damaged lives often require an environment rich in encouragement, resources, and understanding. This interconnectedness transforms isolated acts of courage into a powerful movement, making it impossible for setbacks to undo progress made through shared resilience. Another crucial layer is the importance of purpose-driven action rooted in authentic compassion. The man's shift from a troubled past to a nurturing leader underscores that genuine care cannot be manufactured. It springs from lived experience. This authenticity attracts those around him, children, volunteers, donors, who can sense sincerity and are inspired to participate in something meaningful. When individuals believe that their efforts genuinely matter, motivation deepens and commitment solidifies. Consequently, his organization becomes more than a shelter. It becomes a symbol of hope and renewal. The focus moves from merely fixing immediate problems to instilling a long-term vision that values human dignity and potential. This philosophical underpinning influences every decision made, whether choosing activities, allocating resources, or setting policies, ensuring they align with the overarching goal of nurturing resilience and fostering self-worth. Now, reflect on how this applies when confronting larger societal issues. The man's personal journey illustrates that transformation begins within but must extend outward. It requires challenging existing paradigms, breaking down barriers of prejudice, neglect, and systemic failure, and replacing them with initiatives that empower marginalized groups. His story demonstrates that change is often incremental, built on consistent acts of kindness, patience, and conviction. The process demands perseverance and steadfast belief that, regardless of setbacks or skepticism, every effort contributes to a ripple effect capable of reshaping communities. As you observe this unfolding narrative, notice how the integration of vulnerability, resilience, community, and authentic care forms a powerful mosaic, one capable of inspiring not just individual salvation, but a systemic shift toward a more compassionate and equitable society. Expanding further, it becomes evident that cultivating a resilient mindset involves not only overcoming adversity, but also deliberately shaping perceptions of failure. In environments where success is narrowly defined by rapid results or external validation, Setbacks tend to be viewed as disasters rather than stepping stones. Setting a different internal narrative shifts the way individuals interpret obstacles. It transforms each stumble into a crucial learning opportunity. For the man who emerged from despair, this reframing was essential to his evolution. He learned to interpret setbacks as necessary components of growth, milestones that revealed weaknesses needing attention rather than proof of inadequacy. This philosophical attitude extends beyond individual resilience into the collective culture he fosters. Cultivating an environment where setbacks are normalized as part of the process encourages a growth-oriented mindset, where perseverance outshines immediate results. This approach is particularly powerful within the context of vulnerable children who have internalized failure as part of their identity. Modeling this perspective teaches them that setbacks are temporary, manageable, and integral to eventual success. Furthermore, the emphasis shifts from solely fixing external circumstances to empowering internal agency. It is about nurturing a sense of ownership over one's trajectory, an understanding that progress is often a product of consistent effort and deliberate decision-making, not luck or external forces alone. For children who have grown up feeling powerless, this message can be transformative. When they realize that their choices, no matter how small, influence their future, a seed of hope takes root. The man's role in this process becomes akin to tending a garden, planting seeds of confidence and resilience, carefully weeding out doubt, and providing the right conditions for growth. This empowerment isn't achieved through grand gestures, but through persistent reinforcement of their capacity for change. It might be encouraging a child to take responsibility for a simple task, or guiding them through making decisions that reinforce autonomy, gradually expanding their sense of control over their lives. In addition, understanding that true resilience involves emotional literacy unlocks a profound layer of healing. When individuals are equipped to recognize, name, and regulate their emotions, they develop a more comprehensive toolkit for managing stress and adversity. For children who have been conditioned to suppress feelings of vulnerability or shame, learning emotional vocabulary becomes a radical act of rebellion against suppression. The man, having navigated his own emotional landscape, recognizes that emotional awareness is fundamental to sustainable resilience. Facilitating spaces where children can express their feelings without judgment becomes an act of validation, reinforcing their understanding that emotions are natural, manageable, and manageable. Over time, this process fosters a sense of inner security, enabling them to face future challenges with clarity rather than chaos. It also creates a bridge to empathy, as children better understand their own feelings and, consequently, the feelings of others, cultivating compassion and social cohesion within the community. Now, consider how this emphasis on emotional mastery and internal empowerment applies beyond individual development into the fabric of the community itself. Sustainable change hinges on collective emotional health. When a society predominantly views failure as shameful or weakness, it discourages honest conversations about struggles, perpetuating cycles of silence and denial. Conversely, when collective resilience is nurtured through open dialogue and shared vulnerability, the social fabric becomes more adaptable and compassionate. The man's organization embodies this philosophy by promoting community dialogues about trauma, encouraging stories of resilience, and celebrating incremental progress. These actions build a shared identity rooted in perseverance rather than shame, which in turn attracts more active participation and strengthens communal bonds. As more individuals internalize this shift, a ripple effect emerges, creating a culture where setbacks are reframed as opportunities, where emotional honesty becomes normalized, and where hope becomes the foundation for collective growth. Finally, this paradigm underscores the importance of redefining success within the context of resilience. Success ceases to be solely measured by external achievements and instead becomes an ongoing process of internal growth, adaptation, and self-awareness. For the children, this might mean recognizing their own courage after facing adversity, or acknowledging small victories that build toward larger goals. For the community, it involves valuing perseverance over perfection and progress over immediate results. The man's transformation into a leader demonstrates that by reframing resilience as a continuous journey rather than a finite destination, individuals and communities can cultivate a resilient identity that endures through both triumphs and tribulations. This perspective not only sustains hope, but also ignites an unbreakable belief in the capacity for renewal, even in the face of overwhelming challenges. Expanding the scope of resilience reveals a nuanced understanding of how environments shape and sustain the capacity for renewal. It's tempting to view resilience as solely an individual trait, but in reality, it is deeply intertwined with physical spaces, social norms, and cultural narratives that either foster or hinder growth. The physical environment, for instance, can serve as a silent yet powerful catalyst. A community with access to green spaces, safe communal areas, and resource centers naturally encourages spontaneous interactions that reinforce collective cohesion. When these spaces are neglected or unsafe, the individual's and the community's resilience weaken, making it harder to rebound from setbacks. Creating resilient environments involves more than infrastructure. It demands fostering a sense of ownership among residents, encouraging them to reclaim and transform spaces that feel alien or hostile. For the children in the organization, a symbolic act like turning a dilapidated lot into a playground can ignite pride, illustrating that change isn't just about fixing problems, but about actively shaping one's surroundings. Furthermore, societal narratives act as a subtle framework that either limits or elevates collective resilience. When stories emphasize defeat or paint those who stumble as inherently weak, they inadvertently reinforce a predetermined sense of helplessness. Conversely, stories of conquest over adversity, of unlikely heroes rising from despair, serve as powerful templates that expand the imagination of what is possible. For the community, local media, popular culture, and educational messages weave a fabric of meaning that influences self-perception. If children internalize the idea that failure is an insurmountable flaw, their willingness to take risks diminishes. If they are immersed instead in narratives that celebrate persistence and reinvention, they begin to see setbacks as preludes to breakthroughs. Shaping these stories requires intentional storytelling, highlighting stories of resilience that resonate with their lived experiences, emphasizing that adversity is a shared chapter rather than the final page. Transitioning this perspective toward leadership reveals a vital element: the importance of modeling vulnerability and perseverance in leadership roles. Now, consider how this applies when figures of authority openly acknowledge their own struggles instead of presenting an image of infallibility. Such transparency strips away the facade of perfection that often discourages others from exposing their true selves. It sets a precedent that resilience includes admitting weaknesses, asking for help, and learning through failures. When leaders demonstrate resilience in these ways, they cultivate a climate of authenticity and mutual trust, where obstacles are recognized as universal rather than personal faults. For the children, witnessing this role modeling becomes an educational experience, an implicit lesson that resilience isn't a quality bestowed only upon the strong, but is a skill cultivated through continuous effort, humility, and patience. It reinforces that setbacks are not signs of inadequacy, but opportunities for growth within a shared human experience. Another layer worth exploring involves the role of purpose in maintaining resilience. Without a clear sense of why perseverance matters, efforts can become hollow or superficial. When individuals and communities find meaningful reasons behind their struggles, their capacity for endurance increases significantly. For some, purpose might stem from the desire to create a better future for loved ones. For others, it could be driven by a longing to reclaim dignity or build something lasting within their environment. Purpose acts as a mental compass, guiding and anchoring resilience through turbulent times. For children, nurturing this sense of purpose involves helping them articulate personal aspirations and connect their struggles to broader goals. When they see their efforts contributing to something larger than themselves, whether it's reuniting with family, gaining education, or participating in communal projects, they develop an intrinsic motivation that sustains resilience over time. This internal drive becomes the engine that propels them through setbacks, transforming frustration into fuel for continued effort. Finally, the cultivation of resilience extends into the realm of skill development, particularly emotional and social skills, that empower individuals to navigate complexity with agility. Now, think about how explicitly teaching these skills can serve as a protective barrier during crises. Techniques such as conflict resolution, active listening, and problem-solving become tools that allow children to engage with challenges constructively rather than reactively. When these skills are integrated into daily routines, they become second nature, enabling children to manage intense emotions like frustration or fear. They learn to regulate themselves rather than be overwhelmed by circumstances. Moreover, Social skills foster a sense of belonging and mutual support. Knowing they are part of a network that values empathy and collaboration makes facing difficulties less daunting. These competencies build a resilient mindset because they equip children with practical methods to handle unpredictable situations, reinforcing their confidence that they can shape their responses and, consequently, their futures. Such skill building demonstrates that resilience is not solely a matter of enduring hardships, but also actively developing the capacity to adapt and thrive amidst them. Now consider how resilience can be deeply rooted in the cultivation of curiosity, an often overlooked yet transformative force. When individuals, especially children, are encouraged to question, explore, and seek understanding, they develop an internal drive that extends beyond immediate problems. Curiosity acts as a catalyst, fueling perseverance by transforming obstacles into opportunities for discovery. For example, when a child encounters failure in a task, instead of feeling defeated, a curious mindset prompts them to investigate why and how they might approach it differently. This approach reframes mistakes from being signs of personal inadequacy into valuable feedback, encouraging experimentation without fear of judgment. In practice, fostering curiosity involves creating an environment where questions are welcomed and exploration is celebrated, turning setbacks into stepping stones rather than roadblocks. This shift empowers individuals to view challenges not as endpoints, but as puzzles that invite their ingenuity and creativity, ultimately strengthening their resilience through active engagement. Building upon this, however, hinges on the recognition that resilience also depends on developing a refined sense of self-awareness. This is more nuanced than simply recognizing emotions. It involves a deep understanding of one's intrinsic motives, biases, and limitations. When an individual becomes acutely aware of their influence on situations, they gain a greater sense of agency and responsibility. For instance, a young person might realize that their tendency to withdraw during stressful circumstances is rooted in a fear of failure, which, when acknowledged, opens the door to targeted growth. Self-awareness acts as a map, guiding decisions and behaviors with precision rather than reacting impulsively or feeling overwhelmed by external pressures. Cultivating this trait requires ongoing reflection, often through journaling, mindfulness practices, or constructive feedback, which gradually enhances discernment. The more someone understands their own patterns, the better equipped they become to modify responses, making resilience an active, deliberate process rather than a passive endurance. Furthermore, resilience is profoundly affected by the capacity to reframe perceived threats by leveraging perspective shifts. When individuals are faced with adversity, their instinct might be to focus on loss or danger, which amplifies feelings of helplessness. Yet, the deliberate harnessing of perspective, seeing setbacks as temporary or as opportunities for growth, can dramatically alter emotional impact. This mental flexibility is akin to turning a magnifying glass into a telescope, expanding one's view from a narrow focus on immediate pain to a broader understanding of potential gains. For example, a child rejected from a program might initially experience despair, but later realize that this rejection frees them to pursue a different, perhaps more suitable fit. Teaching such reframing strategies involves guiding individuals to identify underlying opportunities within difficulties, like uncovering seeds of strength buried beneath disappointment. Over time, this cultivates a mindset less fixated on what is lost and more focused on what can be gained, fundamentally reinforcing resilience. Likewise, resilience benefits from actively engaging in community-oriented purpose that aligns with personal values. When individuals see their struggles as part of a collective journey, shared experiences within a cultural, familial, or societal context, they often find renewed motivation. This sense of belonging acts as a sturdy anchor during turbulent times, reminding them they are not isolated in their hardships. For instance, participating in neighborhood initiatives or cultural rituals that emphasize communal resilience can bolster individual resolve by reinforcing the idea that persistence contributes to a larger, meaningful narrative. Such involvement also creates reciprocal relationships where support flows both ways, establishing a network that continually reinforces resilience. By anchoring personal challenges to communal resilience, individuals discover a purpose that is beyond personal survival, transforming resilience into a shared act of resistance and renewal. This interconnectedness not only sustains individual spirits, but also upholds a collective identity rooted in perseverance and hope. Finally, resilience flourishes when it is integrated into the development of adaptive skills, particularly those related to problem-solving and strategic thinking. The capacity to approach difficulties with a clear plan, rather than instinctively reacting, enhances a person's confidence and sense of mastery. Now, think about how this applies when someone encounters an unexpected obstacle, such as losing access to a familiar resource or facing a sudden crisis. Instead of being paralyzed by the situation, those with strong problem-solving skills analyze the core issue, brainstorm alternatives, and implement incremental solutions. This process transforms desperation into a series of manageable steps, each reinforcing their belief in their own ability to influence outcomes. Cultivating these skills involves deliberate practice, such as encouraging children to tackle small challenges, reflect on what worked, and refine their approach. Over time, they internalize a toolkit that allows them to navigate future difficulties with agility and confidence. Such mastery creates a resilient armor, one that adapts to change rather than resists it, and empowers individuals to take charge of their destiny, regardless of external circumstances. Drawing these strands together, we see resilience not merely as a static attribute, but as a dynamic force that weaves through the fabric of human experience, adaptable and responsive as it interacts with environment, perception, and collective effort. The images of growth, reimagining, and reconnection we've explored serve as different strokes on a larger canvas, each illustrating that resilience is cultivated at many levels, from internal mastery to external support systems, and that its true power emerges when these elements harmonize. It is as if resilience functions like a multifaceted prism, refracting hardships into a spectrum of opportunities, each facet revealing a different dimension of human potential. As these facets catch the light of understanding, they reflect the profound truth that the capacity to recover and flourish is not innate or fixed, but rather shaped through intentional engagement with both personal narratives and the worlds we inhabit. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer, not because it prescribes a rigid sequence of steps, but because it emphasizes the importance of cultivating a posture of openness, reflection, and deliberate action. The core idea that emerges is centered on the notion that resilience resides at the intersection of internal awareness and external engagement. It is reinforced by the ongoing dialogue between one's evolving self and the collective environment. This interplay suggests that fostering resilience involves an intricate balancing act, acknowledging vulnerability while actively participating in building spaces that honor hope, perseverance, and shared purpose. Like a gardener tending different plants in a diverse ecosystem, the cultivation of resilience requires attentiveness to various needs, recognizing that growth often occurs in the spaces between effort and patience, challenge and support. As we pivot towards the final reflection, it is essential to recognize that this complex, interconnected web of ideas underscores a profound truth. Resilience is both a personal voyage and a social act. Its roots deepen into individual consciousness, yet its branches reach outward, entwining communities and shaping cultural narratives. This duality highlights that the resilience we admire in others is often the result of countless unseen acts, small moments of courage, silent acts of kindness, persistent hope, that form an unbroken chain linking personal resilience to collective strength. Understanding this interconnectedness invites us to reconsider the ways we support each other, emphasizing the importance of nurturing environments that amplify rather than diminish human capacity to adapt and endure. Reflecting on this journey so far, the overarching narrative reveals resilience as a living, breathing entity, one that requires continuous tending, nurturing, and redefining. Its strength is rooted in the recognition that setbacks are not endpoints but catalysts for growth, and that the most profound transformation occurs when internal processes and external circumstances move in tandem, each feeding the other's vitality. The journey of those who rise from despair to become architects of hope exemplifies this symphony of inner and outer work, demonstrating that the very act of persistence can forge new pathways amid adversity. As we stand at this confluence of ideas, the common thread becomes apparent. Resilience is a testament to human ingenuity, a collective melody composed anew through shared effort, self-awareness, and unwavering curiosity. The culmination of these reflections invites us to hold a nuanced appreciation for the intricate choreography required to sustain resilience across different levels of human experience. It hints at a future where fostering resilience is no longer seen as a response to crisis alone, but as an ongoing, empowering process that engages both the individual and the community in a continuous dance of renewal. The unfolding tapestry suggests that the most enduring resilience is not merely about bouncing back, but about evolving, transforming obstacles into catalysts for deeper understanding and greater compassion. This realization beckons us to look beyond isolated acts of endurance and to consider how the collective fabric of human resilience can be woven tighter, richer, and more vibrant through intention and shared purpose.